The audacity of HOA Karen calling the cops on me for fishing in my own lake was the spark that ignited a neighborhood war nobody saw coming. I'd been casting my line into Lake Serenity for years, a private haven my family owned since Grandpa bought the land in '68. That evening, the water shimmered under the setting sun, and I was lost in the rhythm of my reel when her shrill voice shattered the calm. "You're trespassing. I'm calling the police," HOA Karen bellowed, waddling toward me, her neon pink visor clashing with her mustard yellow tracksuit. Her phone was already out, her fingers jabbing at the screen like she was declaring war. I laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. Trespassing? On my own property. But the venom in her eyes told me this was no prank. HOA Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Serenity Homeowners Association, had a reputation. She was the kind of woman who'd fine you for a mailbox 2 shades off regulation beige, or report your dog for barking at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Her girth matched her ego, and she wielded her HOA rulebook like a scepter. Neighbors whispered about her late-night patrols, snapping photos of violations like a suburban dictator. I'd always stayed out of her crosshairs, content to fish and mind my own business. But that day, something snapped in her, and I was the target. The cops arrived within minutes, 2 officers looking as confused as I felt. "Sir, we got a call about illegal fishing," one said, scratching his head as he eyed my rod and the private property sign clearly posted by the lake. I explained that I owned the land, showing them the deed on my phone. HOA Karen, undeterred, screeched that the HOA had jurisdiction over the lake, claiming it was communal property. The officers exchanged glances, clearly tired of her nonsense, and left after warning her not to waste their time. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke to a certified letter from the HOA accusing me of unauthorized use of community resources and demanding a $5,000 fine. My blood boiled. I dug into the HOA's records, expecting to find some clerical error. Instead, I uncovered a bombshell. The HOA, led by HOA Karen, had been illegally claiming my lake as their own for years. They'd been charging residents lake access fees, hosting events, and even renting out my dock for parties, all without my permission. The audacity didn't stop there. A neighbor, Tim, a quiet retiree who'd always kept to himself, slipped me a folder of photos. "I've been watching her," he whispered, his eyes darting nervously. The photos showed HOA Karen and her cronies trespassing on my land repeatedly, fishing, picnicking, even dumping trash into my lake. Tim, the unexpected whistleblower, had been documenting her violations for months, too scared to speak up until now. I took the evidence to a lawyer, and we filed a lawsuit against the HOA for trespassing, fraud, and property damage. The courtroom was a circus. HOA Karen showed up in a lime green blazer, her lawyer sweating as she ranted about community rights. My attorney, calm as the lake itself, presented Tim's photos, financial records, and my deed. The judge's face hardened as the truth unraveled. HOA Karen had been running a scam, pocketing thousands from residents while violating my property rights. The HOA's defense crumbled when Tim took the stand, his shaky voice recounting years of intimidation by HOA Karen. "She threatened to foreclose on my house if I didn't pay her fees," he admitted, his words silencing the room. The twist hit hard. The quiet old man everyone ignored was the key to exposing her reign of terror. The case dragged on for months, draining everyone. HOA Karen's smugness faded as the HOA's funds dwindled, eaten up by legal fees. Neighbors turned on her, furious at her lies. Some apologized to me, admitting they'd paid her fees without questioning her authority. Others stayed silent, too embarrassed to admit they'd been duped. The lake, once a symbol of peace, became a battleground, its shores littered with the fallout of her greed. I won the lawsuit, securing damages and a court order barring the HOA from my property. But the victory was bittersweet. The neighborhood was fractured, trust eroded. HOA Karen moved away, her house sold to cover her legal debts, but the scars she left lingered. I still fish at Lake Serenity, but the water doesn't feel the same. Each cast carries the weight of betrayal, a reminder of how one person's entitlement can ripple through a community. I see Tim sometimes, tending his garden, and we exchange nods, a quiet acknowledgement of the truth we uncovered. The lake is mine again, but the peace is gone. What do you think? Can justice heal a community torn apart by lies, or does the damage run too deep?